Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Gershon here. We're going to continue our work this week with the shun sound at the end of words. We're going to continue using ION. Last week we were adding a T, T-I-O-N, or we're also going to be using the I-A-N letters to make the shun sound. And we have very specific rules this week of when you add ION or I-A-N. So let's take a look at our words. We're going to go through our list. We have the word invent, magician, adoption, electric, digestion, music, distort, and insert. Next column, invention, digest, insertion, suggestion, musician, adopt, electrician, and clinician. Then I have magic, suggest, dessert, prevention, clinic, desertion, prevention, and distortion. So this week we're going to be looking at the base words and how the base word ends and whether or not that base word is supposed to end with an ION or an IAN. So let's take a look at our first base word. Base word ending with a T. So let's go through and I'm going to look for the word distort right down in the first column at the bottom. So because distort ends with a T, when I find its partner, distortion, down here at the bottom, very bottom of the last column, I hear distortion, I hear the shun at the end, and because the base word ends with a T, you're going to put an ION on the end of that word to make the shun sound. So let's look for another one here. I have digest. So if I were to turn that word into digestion, I have digest. I notice it has a T on the end, so I know to make the shun sound, I'm going to just add an ION onto that word. Digestion. Digestion. Okay? So now let's look at our next one. We have base that ends with an IC. So for instance, in our bold words, we have magic. Now magic ends with an IC, so if I want to make the shun sound in the word magician, because it ends with an IC, we're going to be adding an IAN onto that word. A lot of times when you're changing one of these nouns or verbs over to a shun word with IAN, the shun actually makes the word almost like a person or a specialist who does something. So a magician is obviously someone who does magic. Let's look for another word that has IC, the word electric. Electric ends in IC, so if I want to make the word electrician with the shun at the end, I know I have to add IAN because of the IC at the end of that word. And again, electrician is a person or a specialist who works with electricity. So just to recap, if the base word ends with a T and you're turning it into a word with the shun sound at the end, you're going to add ION. If the base word ends in an IC and you need to transform that word into a word that ends with shun at the end, you're going to add IAN. If you have any questions about any of the words, please pop your hand up. You can grab your scissors and happy sorting.